turn to continued cleanup efforts for the 2020 derecho that swept through our area. As winds surged up to 140 miles an hour, the Iowa DNR estimates 7.2 million trees were lost across the state. Cedar Rapids, Des Moines, and Davenport lost the most trees. And now Iowa is sending out money to help replace some of those. The Iowa DNR has $250,000 to give to any local government, school, or volunteer organization in an impacted county for planting reimbursements. Here to chat about this is Ellie Jones, Iowa DNR Community Disaster Recovery Coordinator. Ellie, thank you for joining us. I wanted to start with how big of an impact this derecho had. I mean, 7.2 million trees already sounds like a lot, but what does this do to the landscape and to communities to lose all of that?
So the derecho was about as bad of a tragedy as you can get for the landscape and the communities of Iowa. As someone who was here in Cedar Rapids, you don't need to know about what benefits trees provide to realize how devastating it was. You could just walk down the street and see the stark difference that was pre and post derecho. That being said, trees do offer a lot of benefits, and when we lost so many trees at one time, we lost all of these benefits, or at least our benefits were greatly reduced all at one time. So for example, trees provide shading, they help with stormwater retention, they provide resources for wildlife, they help reduce urban heat island effects we see in really urbanized areas. And on top of that, there's been studies that have been conducted that show that green space and trees help with people's mental health as well as reducing stress in their environments. And when the derecho hit, we saw this initial loss that was really great, but that also doesn't account for the future potential loss that was from the derecho. Unfortunately, when trees go through a stressor like the 2020 derecho, they're even more vulnerable for future impacts from other storms as well as disease. So this was about as big of an impact as you can imagine. A lot of communities felt it. And just to kind of give an example, when we see storm damage, we don't normally see it on the same scale that we saw for the derecho. Usually it's like maybe one or two counties, and it's a lot easier to manage the impacts when it's such a small community that experienced it. But when we saw this happen over 27 counties, unfortunately, that meant that the devastation was just amplified. Just for example, we lost over $90 million just in carbon sequestration and carbon storage. And it's estimated that total losses per year are over $20 million just from the loss of benefits like carbon sequestration, avoided air emissions, pollution removal, as well as avoided energy uses.
So this clearly a big impact here. I mean, and now the state's trying to help with this. How does this planting program work?
Yeah, so we have $250,000 to give to people who are in that 27 counties addressed in the 2020 derecho Governor's Proclamation of Disaster. We can provide from $500 to $5,000 for communities that were impacted. And this is a match grant. So what that means is that we can provide up to half of the funding as long as it does not exceed $5,000. So for example, you have a $6,000 project, we can provide $3,000 and then the community would pay for the other $3,000. It is reimbursement based, so you would have the upfront charges come out of your accounts and then we would reimburse half the grant after the fact, after you invoice the DNR. This mainly for providing tree and then planting materials. So if you need like watering bags and stuff like that, we can also cover that cost. And it's scored by DNR employees based on things like cost effectiveness, community involvement, long-term maintenance plans. And overall, the money is for the tree and materials, and we can now work with nurseries in Iowa and out of Iowa. That's a big change because especially in your area, there might be nurseries that people are more comfortable working with that are over the border. Previously, they weren't able to use that, but now they are able to use that. Applications are due on March 1st, so we have less than a month to get those in. And we're trying to bring as many communities to get involved as possible within those 27 counties.
Yeah, definitely a huge impact, and hopefully this will help make a difference. Ellie, thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you so much.
Again, for you guys at home, you do have to fill out an application for this program. The deadline for that is March 1st. For more information or to check out the application for yourself, you can head over to our website and click on As Seen on TV.